Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm MK.
And I'm Courtney.
And Courtney, how are you tonight?
Well, aside from the fact that I want dessert and it's 10 p.m. almost, I'm very tired. I have had one of the longest weeks of my entire life, but also maybe one of the best. Maybe one of the best.
Fantastic.
I went to the Folk Alliance International Conference last week in Kansas City. My first time in Kansas City. It's a lovely little town. It's very little, but it's lovely. And it was just like a whirlwind from beginning to end. I was at the conference starting at 10 or 11 most mornings. And then I didn't leave until 2 or 3 in the morning because they had showcases. I was seeing like 10 to 15 shows a day and like meeting up with all these artists and songwriters and industry people. And it was just like, I've never talked so much in my life. And I'm on a podcast and I've never talked so much in my life. Like, I was so tired. I'm still tired because I got in yesterday at 3 p.m. and we had our holiday party for the bar at 7 p.m. And so I hadn't really slept. And so I came home and I took a nap and I got up at 8 p.m. So it was late, but it was so fun. We went bowling and we just all hung out and had a good time. There were drinks and food. And so it's just like everything that happened was great and fun. And I'm just so worn out as a human now.
Oh, I believe it.
It was so wonderful. And I can't wait to do it again. How are you?
I honestly, the incorrect answer is the only thing in my head because when I asked you how you are, I literally in my brain was like, I feel God in this Chili's tonight.
Do you though?
I don't. I'm okay. Today I was like cranky for no reason. And I literally at one point looked at my principal. I go, I don't know if I'm in a bad mood or if the kids are just extra whiny today, but I don't want to hear any of their bullshit. And she goes, I think both are true. And I go, I think cool.
Yeah, probably.
Because like some of the girls came to me and they were like complaining. They were like, someone is using my Chromebook or my email to send emails to other people and it's not me. And I go, did you log out of your email on the Chromebook? They were like, yeah. I go, well, then no one's doing that. Literally, I was like, they came to me, they're like, we need to talk to you. I was like, about what? And they told me and I go, well, then if you did it right, then they wouldn't be doing that.
Right.
Like I had no sympathy for their drama. I had I had the boys in the afternoon and they were like, it's so hot in your classroom. It's so hot in your classroom. I go, I don't care. I'm not hot. I'm comfortable. They're like, but it's so warm. I go, when it's cold in here, all you can say is how cold it is. And when it's hot in here, all you can say is how hot it is. And then one of them goes, maybe we just like to complain. I go, cool, do it to somebody who cares because I don't.
That's kind of how I was today, being so tired all day because Brian was like, he's so hype after this conference, which is great. He's great. I love Brian. Let's start there. But he's coming up with all of these new things of like, this is how we can improve our A&R. This is how we can keep notes. This is how we can stay organized. And I just looked at him, like while he was talking to me, just stared at him. And he just kept talking because he didn't know what to do. And then finally I was just like, I'm open to trying anything, Brian. I will try whatever you want. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. We'll know Friday when we try. He was like, okay.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know that anyone was in a good mood today because, I mean, this is how I woke up this morning. I woke up to a text from Dan that just said, I don't know if I just had the weirdest dream ever or if there was an earthquake. So I Googled it and turns out there was an earthquake. Literally, there was a 4 on the Richter scale earthquake in Buffalo today.
Wild.
I mean, to be fair, there was also a 7.8 in Turkey and Syria, and there's like 3,800 people that are dead, and it's awful and tragic, and so Buffalo is nothing. Right. But like, we don't have earthquakes, And even when we have, they've been like from seismic activity under the water in the lakes, and it's never reached above like a 2.2. And so like waking up at 6:15, just kidding, there was a 4.4 magnitude earthquake 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I didn't feel it.
I only heard about the earthquakes. I heard about the one in Turkey for Turkey. I'm just combining words. Turkey and Syria first because Brian's partner is from Turkey, and so she knew like thankfully her family's okay and stuff, but
Oh,
like
good.
a lot of her friends like lost a lot of stuff. It was
Yeah. And then you heard about the one from Buffalo from me.
yes.
And you were like, wait, what? I was like,
I was like, I thought that was in Canada because I saw something from Canadian news.
I saw something from Canadian news too, but it's because obviously like Canada's right there. So
I don't really follow Canadian news, but I have been doing a lot of research on Canadian artists this week because I really like the Canadian songwriter. So maybe it's just like, I was like, you live here now.
Randomly, the Death and Aliens Twitter account got a notification that Emergency Canada posted about the earthquake. The Death and Aliens account does not say it's in Canada. In fact, it might still say it's located in Bangkok, so I'm not really sure why that happened, but that's how I knew it was on Canadian news.
Maybe that's where I saw it because it was like a pop-up on my phone and I didn't really open it.
Yeah, no, that's probably what it was because we got a notification on Twitter about it.
Interesting. Good times.
Weird.
Good times.
But you know what else is a good time?
What is that?
Our spiritual guidance.
No, it is. You're right. And today, you must understand they fear you. There is nothing scarier in their minds than a girl who knows the power of her flames.
Fuck yeah. I love it. I love it.
Feeling very powerful after
I just almost started singing This Girl's on Fire.
Messed up our entire podcast.
And then I was like, oh, copyright.
Yes, I would have yelled over you. Don't worry. I'm feeling very powerful. I was in like 37 meetings in the past like 4 days, and I am just like thriving.
It's funny because I saw a TikTok recently that said, I think the true like explanation of like adult friendship is when you don't know what the fuck your best friend's job is. Like you know her title and you know what she does, but you don't actually know what her job is. And I saw it and I looked at Dan, I go, Courtney has worked for the same company for like 5 years now. I vaguely have an idea of what she does. I know like the department that she works in. I don't know what the fuck she is. Like I don't know what her job is. I could not tell you anything she does on a daily basis.
Well, my new title is Director of Copyright and A&R, so there's that.
I knew that. So I don't know what that means.
You know, make sure everyone's works are registered correctly and find new people that want to join us and talk everyone up, regardless of if we're trying to sign them or if I'm talking about the company.
Yeah, no.
That is me.
I mean,
and I'm also starting an agency. And I also work at a bar.
Listen,
never ends.
You know all my jobs. You can do it. You couldn't do any of them.
No, I have no idea what you do at Shea. I know you can sometimes watch TV while you're there.
Yeah.
That's my knowledge. And you talk to people.
Yeah.
And teaching, I know that you have lesson plans and you talk about books.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. So we're doing it. We got
excellent. You're great.
You know what else is great?
Yes.
Stargate.
So great. So great this week.
So we're talking about Stargate SG-1 Season 3, Episode 3. It is called Fair Game.
I could throw 3 something.
30303.
That's or 303 the band.
I know, but now I've heard it. No. But it was rated 8.1 stars.
Okay.
So we're a little bit higher. We're a little bit higher this week.
Should be.
It came out on July 9th, 1999. It's a lot of nines.
I think that's someone's birthday that I know.
I don't know.
One of my cousins. I have a lot of them.
And the same song, same book, But this week, Wild Wild West did not last very long as the number one movie.
Because
The
people
number one
watched
movie.
it. They like
Yeah.
rated it. They were like, "Oh, number one, Will Smith," and then everybody watched it. And they were like, "Eh."
The number one movie this week. I actually don't think it was because Wild Wild West was not great. I think it was because this movie came out and people were like, yes. Because the number one movie this week was American Pie.
Oh my god!
The first one, like the first one.
This movie changed everyone's life. It changed the history of film. It is like
It changed like
iconic.
it changed like coming of age, like college pop culture. Like
It literally changed the world.
yeah,
Literally changed the world.
I mean, what has Eugene Levy done that hasn't changed the world?
Fair.
But
And Jennifer Coolidge.
Stifler's mom.
Fuck. I love her. She's incredible.
Some things that happened on this day. Talib Dawad of the Dizzy Gillespie Big Band died.
Oh. I have
Yeah.
some Dizzy Gillespie recordings.
Princess Alexia of Denmark and Greece got married.
Good for her.
And there were some major student protests that began in Tehran. There's some shit going down in Iran in the 2000s.
Tehran's like a huge party city. So it's a real bummer if they're starting to protest stuff.
I actually have a friend who lived in like outside of Tehran. But
Ati's from Tehran.
her experience as a non-Muslim living in Iran is a very
different.
different experience. So like I don't want to talk on her life without
Yeah.
like her.
Right.
But yeah.
Ati had a similar I mean, she was born and raised in, Tehran, and she was all part of that party scene because she loves a good party, but she's also like super Christian, which is strange growing up in that area.
Yeah.
But yeah, she likes it better in New York because who doesn't, first of all? But
Mila lives in Bangkok now, so
but that's all she ever told me. She was like, it's a huge party city.
Mila and her family were not in Tehran. They were like a little bit north of it, like more near the Turkmenistan border. But like that's her stories are the only like remotely firsthand or secondhand experience I have of Tehran, and so like I don't know anything about it.
Yeah. I don't think I'd make it in Tehran. Everyone is so hype. They're like, the parties you see on TV where like everyone's in the pool and like, I would be so
tired. From everything that I've heard about like the big cities in the Middle East, like Doha and Dubai and Tehran, like I am not cut out for that life.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Those parties give me panic attacks on TV, like let alone
exactly. Like I made it 3 hours in my bowling party last night and had to come home. It was too much. Like
I didn't go to my bowling party last week because my friend texted me the Uber code for our company, and I was like, "Oh, people are drinking enough that they're taking Ubers home. I can't go."
I mean, I always take Uber.
Well, yes, but you live in New York. That's different. Like public transport is like normal there. If I was in New York and I had an Uber code, it would be different. But like in Buffalo, like where I'm going to a party with people that I work with where we all drive to work and people are not driving, I was like,
right. Fair.
I'm so good. I mean, I'm so very good.
We also work at an Irish pub, so like
right.
No one was trying.
But I also I'm one of the I can count. I think actually I'm one of, if not the only one of the only people there who still currently has a normal day job that I had to go to the next morning that wasn't the theater. And I was like,
oh, this was your theater party.
Yes, the theater party. It was a Monday night because Monday's the dark night for the theaters, which was fine. But then everybody was like, theater people with Ubers, and I had school spirit week on Tuesday morning at 7:30, and I was like,
you were wearing your pajamas.
Yeah.
Sam. You could have rallied.
I don't think I could. Which is why I didn't go.
Yeah. It's okay. I went to the bar after bowling and I was like, I'm gonna rally. I didn't even drink half my beer. And I was like, okay, I have to go now.
Right. So this episode was written by Robert C. Cooper and directed by Martin Wood.
Good for them.
Yep. Our guest star is Michael David Sims, who played the Secretary of Defense. And I'm sure there was quite a few I could have chosen for this episode, but Michael David Sims played the Secretary of Defense. He's known for 8 Below, X2 The Last Stand,
Know that one.
and Scarecrows.
Who did he play in X2?
A random security guard.
Excellent.
Yes, or FBI agent or something like that. He was also in 5 episodes of The X-Files, but he played a different FBI agent in all 5 episodes, so good luck.
Early or late? Because I've seen the first like 3 or 4 seasons, and I'm still in.
I didn't look.
That's fine. That's fine. I don't. It's not necessary to know.
So we start the episode with the Secretary of Defense at the SJC in order to give a speech because, of course, the president couldn't be there because, as you will have probably noticed by now, 3 seasons in, the president's supposed to be there and then he couldn't be there is kind of a running gag in this show.
Right.
Sam gets a promotion!
Yay, Sam!
Sam is now Major Carter, not Captain Carter.
Good for her. She deserves it.
Yes, she does. And then in another moment that is very funny, Jack goes to give a speech and he says, I'm usually a man of little words, but today, and then he gets beamed up out of the SGC.
Incredible writing.
It's incredible. Because
I was
then,
like, this couldn't have been better.
Because then it flashes, everyone's like looking around confused and there's a moment and then there's the theme song, which, so fun fact about me, I'm obsessed with the Stargate theme song. It's my alarm clock in the morning. But I also never skip through the theme song when I'm watching it and I sing it, which is difficult because there's no words.
Right, correct.
But apparently my parents have never noticed that I do this every time.
For the past 30 years of your life, they've never noticed?
And so last night I was sitting on the floor of my living room with my notebook on the coffee table taking notes because my back, like I rotate where I'm sitting all the time because of my tailbone. And I'm sitting on the floor of the living room, like drawing in my notebook, and I'm like singing the theme song and I like change what voice I'm doing for the different instruments and my mom just starts cracking up and I go, Mom, I do this every time. But so then the theme song ends and we flash to Jack on a spaceship continuing to give his speech and he's like, so in conclusion, so we have no idea what his speech was.
He just missed his entire speech, was in the ether.
And he realizes that he's on a spaceship. And an Asgardian appears and is like, Colonel O'Neill. And he's like, do we know each other? And he's like, yeah, I'm Thor. And I was like,
oh, it's Thor. Bad timing, Thor.
I, of course, watched these on the DVDs. So when you go to click on that episode, the picture that pops up for that episode is just a picture of Thor. And I was like, Thor episode!
I watch it on Pluto TV, and so it picks the most random scene that means absolutely nothing to anything to show you before you go. So
beautiful. No, mine was a picture
I don't even
of
know
Thor.
what it was. Yeah.
And so Thor is like, hey, we need to talk because the whole thing, now you killed Apophis and you killed Ra and you killed Hathor, and so like the system lords, they're kind of onto you and they're turning their eyes toward Earth as an issue. And so we would like to kind of intervene, but only kind of, and we would like to have a negotiation between us and the system lords to add Earth to the treaty of planets that they're not allowed to attack. And Jack's like, cool. I would like that.
Right.
So they go back. So then we go back to, he gets beamed back down to Earth. And he's explaining to General Hammond and the rest of the team what is going on and what Thor has told them. And General Hammond is like, how can you vouch? Like, are you sure about these guys? Like, do you vouch for them? Like, what's, and then Thor just appears in the SGC.
He has no boundaries. He has no sense of boundaries.
Beamed himself in, and Hammond just goes, do we need to call security? And Jack's like, nope. I can, in fact, vouch for him. He's cool. We're good.
It's fine. It's Thor. No problem.
Yeah. And Thor...
No one panics. Everyone's just like, okay, cool. We're good.
Well, and he goes, Major Carter, Daniel Jackson, you remember Thor?
Yeah. They're like, yep, sure enough.
And so Thor tells them that in 4 days the System Lords will come through the Stargate for the negotiation. And Jack's like, they're coming here. And he's like, well, yeah, it's traditional that when you're hosting a negotiation about the safety of a planet, you have it on that said planet. Right. And I was like, logical. Kind of fucked up, but like logical.
Right. I get it. But if this goes sideways, they're already in a position to just kill everyone there.
Correct.
Oh, fine.
So I guess Thor, at some point that we don't see, gives them the list of who is coming for this negotiation. Mm-hmm. And Teal'c and Daniel are giving the Jack the lowdown on all the System Lords and who they are and like what their deal is. And this is an important episode in Stargate history because it is the first time we find out that there are any System Lords that are not Egyptian gods.
Yes.
Because obviously Kronos is Greek. Nerti is... I don't know what culture Nerti is a god of.
I don't know either.
I'm sure it'll be in the trivia for the episode.
It sounds like it might be Greek. Like it makes me think of like
it does, but she didn't look Greek. But while I'm looking at, and then Yu is a Chinese emperor.
Yeah.
So, but Nerti is the Gao'uld who wiped out Cassandra's planet. So, they're not exactly thrilled.
I'm sorry if you're watching the video. I know it just looked really weird. My dog keeps standing up and laying down behind me. So I was like leaning into her to like bother her.
That's fine. Nerti, no, that is not in the she's a Hindu deity. I guess that makes sense because she had a Hindu headdress and the what is that called?
Yep.
There's a fucking word for it.
There absolutely is, and I know it in the back of my head. I know.
Yeah. For those of you who are only listening to the podcast, I'm rubbing the place in my forehead where where Hindu women put the jewel in the middle of their forehead, and I can't think of the correct term for it. But then, and I don't want to be a culturally insensitive prick. And a bindi.
Bindi, yes. I just got there too. It's a bindi.
Yes. Like bindi or mine. Okay, my brain will connect that now. They're not connected, but my brain will connect them. So yes, that makes sense that Nerti is a Hindu deity because she had the bindi. But so they one of the things that they have to do in order to get the SGC ready for the arrival is that they have to basically lock up and hide and remove all weapons. And apparently the Gao'uld will also not be bringing any weapons with them. And they particularly want to hide any Gao'uld tech weapons that they
Right.
have because,
Doesn't look great.
yeah. But Teal'c is like absolutely throwing a shit fit and refuses to give up his weapon.
He is so fussy.
He's like, I don't trust them.
I don't trust him either. I get it.
We will shortly find out why he's so fussy. But like right now, he just feels like he's throwing a temper tantrum, and it feels very out of character. And we're like, Teal'c, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
So then the Gao'uld get there. They take them to their rooms. They have each room like decorated specifically for each deity and whatever.
I would also like to note that this was also a really funny episode.
Yeah.
I laughed even more in this episode.
Oh, yeah. No, I laughed a lot at appropriate things, and then I also laughed a lot at things that were not funny.
That's fair. I can neither confirm nor deny what I did.
I will get to later. I will get to the one that it was a lot. Jack was very, very funny in this episode. But so the Gao'uld are like pissed off because there's security cameras in their room, and they're like, "You're spying on us," and they're like, "Your hidden camera wasn't very hidden." And Daniel goes, "That's because it wasn't a hidden camera. It's just a regular old camera.
It's a regular camera. Of course, we're spying on you."
And so Daniel's like, "Okay, we will take them out of the room so that you have some privacy, but like they have to be in the hallway, security measures, blah blah blah." And they're like, "Fine." Then Kronos sees Teal'c in the hallway, and like shit gets real heated real fast. They're like screaming at each other, and Kronos is like, "I don't want to see your face at all anymore," and like it's like aggressive. And so when they're leaving, and Daniel's like, that felt like a lot. And Teal'c's like, "No, it's fine." And he's like, "No, that felt a little more personal." And so Teal'c admits that Kronos killed his father, and that he became the first prime of Apophis specifically to try to kill Kronos.
Yep.
So like it's like a lot personal.
Right. And like totally would feel the same. But there's a time and a place. Like, and not what we're trying to save the entire world.
Right. Like this is not the time to go Inigo Montoya on Kronos.
Right.
So Sam also has really bad feelings about Kronos because she realizes that while they're there, that Kronos is the one who sent the guy to kill Jolinar. So like everybody's just hating on Kronos.
I mean, to be fair, not a great guy.
Yeah. But so the negotiation starts, and immediately within like 37 seconds of the negotiations, the Gao'ulds are just yelling at each other, and they're mad at Jack for like existing or something. Right. And then they just like storm out.
Yeah. He like says something like, "Hold on," or something. And then they just like run away.
And so Jack's like, "What the fuck?" And Thor's like, "Yeah, they don't like you or each other really.
And you offended them.
So it's going to be a minute before they do that." And then he's like, "But here," and he's like, and so Daniel asks Thor, and he's like, "Not to be like a prick, but if you guys have the power to destroy the Gao'uld, why have you let it get this far?" And he's like, "Well, there is somebody else in our galaxy that's like way worse."
Yeah.
And they're
like, what the heck?
They're like, "Worse than the Gao'uld?" And he's like, "Yeah, so like, you just gotta..."
He's just like so laissez-faire about it. And at first he's like, yeah, no, that's a great question. We shouldn't have let him get that far. But also, there's this other really terrible thing. So
Yeah. And he's like, we've had to ignore it because we actually don't have the power to kill all of them and still save ourselves from this other guy. So we do a lot of bluffing and also just signing treaties and pretending we don't care when we do care because we don't know what else to do. And it's like, that's like tragic and like
in and of
awful
itself.
and also terrifying.
Right. Like, like, how are you not terrified every day that one domino is going to fall over and the entire thing's coming down?
Yeah. And he's like, well, I have to go, but here's this device that will let you contact me whenever the negotiations are going to begin again. And Jack's like, what is it? He's like, you're just talking to it. I'll hear you.
He gets his own FaceTime.
Yeah.
It's so exciting.
So then Jack caves and apologizes to the system lords, but not really. Daniel writes a letter and Jack just signs it. And apparently Daniel is really good at like bullshitting apologies.
Yeah.
So they decide they reconvene, they want to meet again. They call Thor back. And Thor is like, here, as a like what the Asgard will give you is that you guys can use this one, I don't know, fucking like space river or something that they weren't allowed to use before. And they're like, okay, we will accept the treaty. But then they said something about a different part of the treaty that basically says that all human planets only exist as host planets and slave planets,
Right.
and that the Tauri have no rights to anything. And so in order for their planet to be safe, they have to concede both of their stargates.
And I was like, that doesn't really feel like a fair thing.
Yeah.
Like, I get that you give up your stargates because we don't want you in our world, so we're gonna stay out of your worlds. Like, that sucks, but that makes more sense. But you also have to be a slave planet, on top of that.
Right.
That's a lot to give up.
So the team and the Secretary of Defense are considering whether or not to accept the proposal. And the Secretary of Defense is like, the Stargate is the single most important thing on the entire planet Earth. I don't think we should give it up. And Jack's like, yeah, but if we don't, they're going to kill the entirety of Earth. So
what's worse?
So Jack goes to Thor and he's like, what should I do? And he's like, what do you think you should do? And he's like, you're not fucking helpful, Thor. But then the president accepts the terms, so it doesn't matter what Jack wants. And Daniel goes to tell the system lords that they're going to accept their terms, but he finds Teal'c and Kronos both unconscious and bleeding in Kronos's chambers.
Yeah.
Not great. So we go to the infirmary. Janet tells us that Teal'c is going to be fine. But Kronos is dying because there's too much injury to the symbiote in order to heal him.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So then, and only then, apparently, does Daniel find the time to tell the rest of the team Teal'c's backstory.
Right. But he just casually mentions it. He's like, "Oh yeah, this is why." And they're like, "Why didn't you tell us?" He's like, "Meh."
They're like, you didn't find that to be important to let us know that literally his whole vengeance and purpose for existing was to kill this man. You left that little bit out.
He doesn't grasp why it's important.
Yeah. But so they're afraid to tell Nerti and you that Kronos is dying because they know that it's not going to look good for negotiations. But they have the Gao'uld healing device still, so they're like, we should tell them and have them try to heal him. So they bring him in and they try to save Kronos, but they tell the team that it's too severe and that they can't do it unless they have a sarcophagus. And Jack doesn't want them to leave because he doesn't trust that this will be good for anyone.
Fair.
So then Thor's like, yeah, but they have to leave. Also, so do I, peace.
Right. Yeah, I'm out.
So then, like, I don't know what happened next because my note just says Jack and Hammond get aggressive and the Secretary of Defense is stressing. So I don't know. Everybody's losing their mind because the planet is their only choices are to die. Their only choices are to not let Nerti and you leave with Kronos and have someone else come and kill them for holding the rest of the system lords hostage, or to let Nerti and you leave and then have them kill the planet because they killed Kronos.
Right.
So, like,
nothing good is coming out of this.
No good. But then Teal'c wakes up. And Teal'c tells us that he was sent a message that Kronos had requested to see him. And when he got there, Kronos denied seeing them, or denied requesting him, and then they were both attacked by something invisible. But so everyone's first thought is the Ritu, the invisible bug thing. And Teal'c's like, but I didn't sense a Ritu, like, and we know that the Gao'ulds react to the Ritu. So he was like, hey, that's
very intensely. Yeah.
Very intense. So he's like, no, that's not what it is. So then Sam gets an idea. Because as we saw in last week's episode, Sam sometimes can still use Gao'uld technology. So she uses the healing glove and heals Kronos herself, and it works.
Because somebody's a liar.
So Kronos verifies Teal'c's story, basically. And Jack's like, well, let's negotiate on our own terms without the other system lords, because somebody who's here with you did this to you.
Right.
And so they make a deal. And they're like, how do we actually know who it is? And they're like, we don't.
Right.
But they do a little good cop, bad cop, like accusing, and, you know, you accuse the right person and their reaction tells you everything you need to know.
Absolutely.
So they accuse Nerti of doing it, but also they know that Nerti has the ability to phase because they know what she did on Cassandra's planet. So they talk about her phasing ability, and they accuse her of it, like, lying and attacking Kronos. And then you immediately turns on her.
No question.
Like, does not even for a second question that they are making this up to, like, tear them apart. He's like, you fucking liar. Which she then proves by immediately phasing and running away.
Right.
So they catch her with the thing that they used with the Ritus to show them phasing, and they bring her in and tell you that Kronos already agreed to sign the treaty and not make them get rid of their stargates in exchange for, like, what they've done with Nerti.
Right.
And you agree to support the treaty and also sign it and not attack Earth. But they tell them that they will not come through the Stargate. They will not come to Earth. They will not attack the planet. But if any of the Tauri are on any of the planets already run by system lords, they're fair game. That's the name of the title.
Hey, it is.
The name of the title is Fair Game.
Yeah, it is. I forgot.
Because he doesn't actually use the words fair game. He uses some fancier way of saying
Right,
it. But I was like, but that's where the title comes from. So
yep, absolutely.
So that is the end of the episode. It's a pretty good episode, actually.
It's a pretty stellar episode. It's been one of my faves so far.
We get some pretty good comedy in it. We get some more backstory on Asgard. We get some more backstory on the Gao'uld. It's like,
It was very well paced, I felt like, which is not always the case.
yeah, it was very, very nice.
Mm-hmm.
There are only 2 pieces of trivia for this episode. And one,
so few.
I know, I thought there was going to be more. But one is just that it's Sam's promotion from Captain to Major.
Well, figured that one out.
Yeah. And then the other one is actually interesting. So the actress who played Nearty was not on the show before, but she was a script editor who had been on set for a very long time. And the actor who played you had previously been on the show as a stunt person.
Oh, fun!
So they pulled them from their own people.
Yeah, I love
that. So who do you want to punch?
Well, I would like to punch Nearty.
That is
She's a liar.
Yeah. Mine is a little controversial, maybe.
Okay.
I would like to punch Teal'c. And it's not because I don't love Teal'c.
No,
And it's not because I don't think Teal'c's emotions were valid. He had every right to feel the way he did. But he has worked so hard to have peace and to have a home on Earth and to have some way to break down the system lords, that not controlling his anger was a weak moment for him, and I did not care for it.
And it was also a little out of character, because you think about how like they took over his son and like all this stuff, and he never quite overreacted this much. Like, I mean, he got angry,
right,
like,
and
it wasn't insane.
And he has talked so much about his like the what's it called, the Kelnorine.
Mm-hmm.
And like the meditation and all of this stuff. And we know that he's clearly worked very hard at being as level as he is. And obviously, like, childhood trauma, like, is totally different. I'm not saying it's not. But I just didn't like seeing the weakness that his anger brought out in him.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I think that's fair.
But who is your MVP?
It's Thor.
Oh, I forgot to talk about the part that really, really bothered me, graphics wise.
What was it? Please tell me.
The part that the moment, it's about Thor. So the moment that I laughed, that was not funny, was when Thor was like, you have to let the Gao'uld go. And also, I have to go. He got up out of the chair. I know it's 1999. I know it's 1999. I keep telling myself that I know it's 1999. But when that very well done prosthetic alien turned into a very not well done CGI'd moving alien, I was like, what the fuck is that? The graphics when he stood up out of the chair, I was like, it's a cartoon. It literally turned into a cartoon.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Totally fair.
I have not seen something that bad in a very long time.
Yeah, that was funny. They're learning CGI still.
It's 1999. It's 1999.
Don't say that too many times, or we're gonna end up back in 1999.
I don't want that. I don't want that.
It's all a dream. Y2K actually happened, and we'll never know.
Yeah, but so why is Thor your MVP?
No, he's just like, he really wants to keep the peace between everyone. He's got great comedic timing, even though I'm sure it's not what he means to do, but great comedic timing. He really wants the best for everyone, and he's just like super chill. He's like, okay, I'm gonna leave because this is gonna take a minute, but you just call me and I'll come back. Like, no problem. I'm like,
yeah.
just really
It's a-
dig him.
Um, yeah, that's a good affair. I guess my MVP is gonna have to be Jack
He would have been my other choice, yeah.
because he very much out of his comfort zone to lead a diplomatic mission with the species he hates the most in the entire universe. And like follow the rules. How the fuck this man made it to Colonel is beyond me because his inability to like follow protocol and speak correctly
Wild.
in any situation. Like, yeah, him and General Hammond are buddies, and Hammond kind of just expects it, and it is what it is.
Right.
But like, how did you make it to Colonel?
Right. How did you make it where you are now?
So yeah, him actually having to like put on the dress uniform and put on his big boy pants and shut his mouth. He didn't succeed, but he gave it the
Did
old
better than I
college try.
expected.
Oh, so much better than I expected.
So good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would have been my other choice had I not gone with Thor, but I mean, it's Thor. Come on.
Yeah.
So I love it.
We love Thor.
I'm very excited.
Oh my god. I'm so sorry. That was the biggest yawn ever.
It's okay. We've been through a lot.
So much. This is the third episode we recorded. And I was only home from work for 10 minutes before we started recording. So like it has been, and my day started with an earthquake. So like
I'd only been home for 25 hours since leaving Kansas City. So I doubled up my work and then I stayed late to finish watching the episodes before I came home.
we are thriving. But you know what isn't thriving? Our social media presence, because you guys don't talk to us. So, I mean, to be fair, it's also not thriving because we don't do as much as we should. But
We're
like,
really trying our best. We're really trying our best.
if you could please interact with us and give us a reason to be on the social medias, that would be ideal. You can do that by emailing us at deafandaliens@gmail.com or following us on anything at deafandaliens. You can follow me personally at EMKAY_superstar.
And you can find me at CECloud13.
And we will be back for the mid-season episode of Bates Motel on Thriller Thursday.
I'm so excited.
We'll see you then.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.